What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another video. So I had originally went to get this up yesterday, but man, it has been a busy last couple of days. So for starters, I had 2 exams and 4 quizzes to take in about 24 hours. So I basically spent all of Wednesday, which is this footage is from, other than going to the gym, taking those quizzes. And then I spent the majority of Thursday, which is yesterday, doing those exams. So that really kept me very busy and unable to edit. But once I did get done with those exams, I still could not edit this video. And that is because there was a power outage. That is right, a front went through Texas, which is where I live, and my area lost power. It started flickering about 2:30 in the afternoon, but then went just completely out by about 4:30, maybe 5-ish, and then it didn't come back on until 2 in the morning. So obviously I couldn't edit and render any clips, but also I couldn't even record because number one, I didn't want my phone to die, and number two, there was no lighting because there was no power. And as sexy as a candlelit video commentary sounds, it's not practical. So that is why we are uploading this video today. So to catch everybody up to speed, if you recall last week, we were kind of trying to decide whether or not we were going to deload this week and what we were going to do moving forward with the bench press. If you remember, I had a lower back injury, haven't really been able to do lower body stuff until a few weeks ago, and I've been slowly building that back up. It's almost up to speed, and we're about to go into the next week with, training that at pretty much full force again. But I've been doing a lot of benching, increased frequency to 3 times per week for the first time in my lifting career, which has been a lot of fun. And I've seen a lot of gains from that. But I reached the point in sort of a linear progression scheme where I was starting to, not necessarily make progress every single time I went into the gym for a workout. And we were kind of trying to figure out what I was going to do. So a lot of people recommended that I deload. And I was trying to decide whether or not just to stick it out and try to hit PRs the following week, or if I should deload and reset, or if I should deload and test. And I decided to deload and test because I haven't tested in about 4-ish months, and I wanted to see where my bench was at. So we're going to get right into the footage here, and we're going to talk about what happened during that test. So basically, this is the deload. I wanted to just record this because just to show that I actually did it. So this is 70% of my original projected 1 rep max, which was 300. This is just a 3x5. I hit this on Monday, and then 2 days later, I went and tested. So this is 285 pounds. This is my old 1 rep max. It was sort of my last warm-up set. Really, really happy that moved super, super smooth. This is 300. If you recall, I failed this in September. And this is my projected 1 rep max. This was a huge lift I wanted to show off, and went up very, very smooth. So my projected 1 rep max at the end of all my AMRAPs was 310. I decided to throw that on the bar. I'm just showing you guys kind of my setup here, how I get set up for the bench press. I've been trying to get a really, really consistent arch. I wanted to get my feet in a bit of a better position, but every time I do that, my hamstrings cramp like a motherfucker. So here we go. 310, paused, and pressed. And I was so ecstatic about that. And I decided to throw 3 wheels on there. Now, going into this, I didn't really know if I was going to hit this 100%, but I thought, I can't leave this gym hitting 310 and not even attempting 315. So here we go. Paused, pressed. Yes. I hit 315 on the bench, and I am super, super excited about that. A 3-plate bench was a huge milestone for me. Originally, I was going to make a goals of 2021 list where I set my intentions on what I wanted to do this year, which I still plan to make, but it's going to have to be adjusted, because my goal this year was to hit a 315 bench, and I did that, and it's February. It was pretty maximal, and I probably left everything on the bench on that lift. So where does that leave my bench? I really don't know. I definitely want to keep the 3 times per week frequency. I do think that, number one, it's just a lot of fun to bench 3 times per week. I really have been enjoying it, and I haven't noticed any sort of joint issues or anything, because that was one thing I was concerned about, was how is this going to beat me up, right? But to be honest, the bench has not really beaten me up that much. And even with adding in additional volume for accessories and adding in lower body volume again after coming off from injury, I still haven't felt beat up. I'm recovering, everything's great, and no tendon issues or nothing. So I'm going to keep the 3 times per week frequency. I could just stay with the progression scheme that I've been using and just use 315 as my new sort of max. Alternatively, I could increase to the sort of intermediate version of this, because the intermediate version of this program builds off of the beginner version of the program. So I could just transition into the intermediate, even though I've only stalled 1 time. Alternatively, I could do another program. I know Candido has a bench program, but that is a very high frequency bench program. I know I've been recommended, I think it's UPF Lifter. Is that what it is? Or UPF Powerlifter or UF Powerlifter or something like that. He's a really, really famous bencher on YouTube. The dude has a 410 bench at 150 pounds, which is just insane. He's got a bench program that looks like a lot of fun. It's also 3 times per week, so that would fit into my schedule. And you're also working with a lot of heavy weight, and if you want to lift heavy, you have to lift heavy. You know what I'm saying? I think that is very, very true. But again, it's all going to come down to organization within the training week, and how does that play into my squat and my deadlift. Also, I've been doing exclusively bench pressing for my main pressing movements. So I've had no vertical movements at all this block. And that's because 6 weeks ago, I was still kind of recovering from that injury, and any vertical movement, especially free weight, so barbell overhead press and dumbbell overhead press and any variation of that, kind of didn't feel great on my back. But now it's feeling great. And I really like the overhead press. It's probably one of my favorite movements in general, not just as an assistance movement to the bench press. So I'm kind of wanting to try to program that back in. Overall, I hit a 315 bench. I'm not going to say that I never thought I was going to hit a 315 bench in my life, but to put it into perspective, I've only been training probably for about 3 years. So 3 years in, and I'm hitting a 315 bench. That's pretty cool. I didn't think I was going to do that. Obviously, there's some lower body stuff that really, really needs to be brought up, and I'm going to probably focus on that and shift away from focusing on bench press progress. More if it's there, it's there, and if it's not, then I don't really care. But that'll be discussed in a different video. Hope you guys are out there crushing some crazy PRs, even in, this world, which is still in a pandemic and sometimes has no power. And yet we strive, we make it through, we persevere. And that's what it's all about, guys. So hope you guys are out there doing some great stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.